I'm just going to see what this does. Oh, there we go.
Where'd you go?
Froze you up.
Okay, there you go.
It went all dark for a second. I think that's when it goes into record mode.
Just letting us know that you're a pervert and you're recording our call.
If I was doing it for that, McMahan, you wouldn't be required. I'd be saying, Paul, don't you need to go and clean something in the kitchen?
Go do something.
Yeah. So Kaylee Gast is the first person to watch. Hey, Kaylee, I just want to get a thumbs up or something to let me know that, Kaylee, you can hear this okay, because I'm mainly worried about that you can hear the McMahon people. So we're doing this a couple of different ways here. I'm going a bit of Bobby Meinzer is watching the real D15. Very cool. Out of Knoxville, out of West Burlington, Iowa. Anyway, if it doesn't work on Facebook Live, it's working on Skype. So about 15 minutes ago, Paul, you're in the driveway, grilling out, drinking whatever you're drinking, Coors, I'm guessing. And suddenly I go, hey, let's do Skype. And you're like, what's that?
Exactly.
We're like Skype's old.
Yeah.
Skype, I didn't know. My wife told me it was old.
Yeah, I mean, Zooming with my work forever. So I'm like, Skype, what?
Yeah. It's crazy times right now, but at least we can do this. Back in the day when Paul and I were kids, because you're a lot younger than us, Jan, when
right. Okay, thank you.
When Paul and I were kids, if this had happened to us, Paul, we'd either have to find a kid that had an Atari, or we'd have to handwrite letters to people. We couldn't be like iRacing and Facebook Live, could we?
Yeah. We had to handwrite letters, lick the envelope and the stamp.
Before there was that term of send it, you literally did have to lick the envelope and send it.
Exactly.
So what time is it right now where you guys are?
It is 9:00 in the evening on Saturday night.
And what were you drinking, Jan? Natties.
Natty Lights, natural lights. Yeah.
Do you have an example of that?
I do. It's actually. Oh, here, I'll show you Braden's because mine's in a Yeti.
Oh, it's a girl drink.
Well, no, I guess, but it's a seltzer. Cherry and lime.
Okay.
But it's a beer. But no, it's not.
It's only just a beer. So my audio went a little bit quiet.
It's 6%.
6%?
Yeah.
It's almost a brownie.
It's a good one.
Oh, we're not even going to talk about brownies. Jeez. Gone.
I called this planting today in our flower bed. So.
Oh.
I supervised and served him drinks while he planted.
So every now and again when people pop up, I'm just going to say hi to them so you know. Amy Tatnell is watching, so that means that Rory or Brooke is watching as well.
Hey Tatnell.
The woman who's into special needs care, Angie Hannigan, is watching.
Oh, hey, Angie.
It's so nice that she adopted Randy, isn't it?
It's so great that
somebody needed to.
Yes, somebody needed to adopt him.
And let's start with you for a sec, Jan. How's the iRacing career going? Because a lot of us want to know. Apparently, you were very sore after the racing.
Oh, yeah, I tense up. I do not know how. Shannon and I have discussed this. We do not know how Paul and Joey have done this for a living because it's so easy to hit the reset button and go back out. We have had more laughs practicing together because one night we were practicing together and okay, so in iRacing, we have rear view mirrors, and I saw Shannon flipping behind me. Mic'd in, and I'm like, oh my God, I was laughing really hard. And I'm like, are you okay back there? And she was laughing. She's like, oh my God. And she's like, I can't believe that. I was trying to be cool. And she's laughing. And I came around, and she didn't hit her reset button. And I came around, and I drilled her. And she mic'd in and she goes, I think I just peed. And I mean, I'm not kidding you. We were laughing so hard. And I mean, it is so good, especially at this time. And then we got off of our practice because Brayden sets us up for practicing and he sets us up for like an hour. And so then we got off of our practicing and we called each other and was like, okay, what was your pitman arm set at? What was your right rear set at? What was your, how many, gallons of fuel were you running? And we're like, seriously, would we ever have thought we were, would ever be talking about this? This is crazy. Would we ever be, playing a video game? We were laughing so hard. It was the best. The absolute best. I was crying. I was laughing so hard.
More importantly, how many natties had you consumed during that process?
None at that time. None.
Oh.
No, I had a Corona seltzer, or Corona whatever, Fresco, they're called. But no, no. It was funny. Yeah.
It's good that she gets a little bit of that perspective, Paul, anyway, mate. Just a little bit of a taste of what you do.
Yeah, she understands. I mean, it's, because I suck at iRacing really bad. And it's a good thing I don't try to make a living at iRacing. But yeah, when she got on it, she figured out that it's not as easy as she thought it was.
No.
But to be honest, I would think, to be honest with you, Paul, that racing a real sprint car would be a little easier than the iRacing thing. And I don't mean about like being competitive. I mean the actual being able to feel and hear and, Jan got in the car and did some laps. Different.
Yeah, when you drive one, you feel it. You feel it in your butt. You feel it in the seat of your pants. You feel everything. And when you're iRacing, you have no feel. So, I mean, everything you have is whatever, the better the steering wheel you have and the better the pedals you have, the more feel you'll have for what the car's doing. And I'm too cheap to buy all the cool guy stuff. So I have the feel what I have, and I'm figuring it out. I'm just very lucky that Braden helps me out as much as he does.
Speaking of Braden, the style he's rolling right now, it's a little bit Blake Shelton. It's a little bit Rico Abreu. It's a little bit everything. Can you show us a bit of the look he's currently rolling with the COVID haircut?
He's coming over.
He's coming over.
You want me to do like a little runway walk for you?
Oh, yeah, he can do the runway
bang.
walk.
Oh,
yeah, look at him.
The light's in the way.
Oh, yeah, the light's in the way.
If you can just put the light just behind your hair, Braden, as you did that, mate, because that was really artistic. Just flick your hair with the porch light.
I don't know what I did. I don't
know. Oh, yeah,
like
he's got a little Ricky Stenhouse going on.
Ricky Stenhouse. I've been called Morgan Wallen, which is pretty good because all the ladies love him right now. So, just trying to rock what I can to
He's got the
get
light.
attention.
Yeah.
Isn't it incredible? Rico was a visionary because
really
he had this thing going well before the world got caught up in a virus, and now the world's caught up with him. It's incredible. He was 6 months ahead of his time.
He was.
Yeah. He's always been fast, so it doesn't surprise me.
Let me just say that Braden is so excited that Rico actually gave him a compliment on Snapchat about his mullet. So, yeah. And I think it's next Friday that our barbershop's open. And so LaWanda is
LaWanda
is who cut Braden's mullet in the first place. And so Braden is so excited to go back to LaWanda to get it freshened up.
So,
hey, just so you all know, I had that stuff over 20 years ago.
yes.
It's not like it's new. I had that stuff 20 years ago. Straight out of high school.
I'm still dealing with LaWanda. Is it like, oh no, you didn't?
Oh,
it like-
it is. And LaWanda, when he went to LaWanda and she what he wanted, and he said, "I'm thinking the mullet." She said, "Oh, you're speaking my language."
Yep. She said, "Baby, you're talking my love language." And I so yeah, it was a funny experience because I was embarrassed to ask for a mullet, and then I got the one lady that she was so excited to give me a mullet, and I was like, "All right, cool, I'm ready." And yeah, it turned out okay. It's growing. I just need to trim.
I'm surprised that someone hasn't come up with some sort of new term. You know how like a mechanic is now like a garage surgeon, and stuff like that. Like people have, why is it not a more technical name?
I haven't heard of the garage surgeon.
No, I just made that one up.
Oh, no wonder I haven't heard of it. That's a good one.
You can keep that, Paul. All right, you can keep that.
I'll keep that.
You know who always ran the best mullet in the world, Paul, was a great friend of yours that passed away, coming up on 4 years this year in June, in Shane Cricky. No one ran a better mullet than Shane.
Nobody had a better mullet than Shane. You're exactly right. God, I was just actually, as I sit here with my cricket, it's
Oh, you got it.
koozie.
Good
It's my
work.
favorite koozie I use to keep my beers cold, and I miss my boy. I miss my brother. I miss my
Yeah.
brother in Australia.
Yeah, absolutely. Where's your little girl? What's going on with your daughter? Where is she at the moment?
She's in Knoxville, which is about 3 hours east of here. She just
So,
finished her
Tennessee.
she just finished her junior year of college.
Yep.
She does not like to come home. She's very independent now, as long as Daddy keeps paying the rent. So
Yep.
she's hanging out in Knoxville, Tennessee, and she comes home every once in a while. But she's busy with school and trying to get everything sorted out. She's taking some summer classes this year, so she can graduate in 4 years, and I'm more than happy to have that done so we can get school done and she can graduate from college in 4 years.
I heard someone, I'm hoping that was squealing in the background, not screaming, like it wasn't a drive-by or something. I have been to Nashville, and I was a little frightened in some parts of Nashville. It's an interesting town.
Oh, it's a great town. Too bad right now everything is closed up, tighter than things. But yeah, it's a great town. It's grown a lot. It's more of it's very commercialized, but it's a great town to come out and hang out with. All my buddies that ever come out here to Nashville, they've all enjoyed it. When they had the Outlaw show here, I guess 2 years ago or last year, everybody really enjoyed it, and it's just one of them towns that it's not what it used to be. 10 years ago. It's very different, but you can see any type of different music you want to hear, any genre you want to hear, and if you try to do a bar crawl, you'll never make it.
Jen, is a genre like a genre? Is that Paul speak?
Yeah,
Genre?
Yeah,
genre.
that's Paul's language.
Is that like when you go down to see Wanda, you can see some genre? Is that what you?
I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just saying. I know it's like different
That's Paul
music.
McMahon language.
Yeah.
Paul McMahon.
He's a language surgeon.
That's for sure.
which is code for a bullshitter.
He made that his own
Sandra,
stuff.
I know there's different types of music to listen to.
Correct.
Damn right word to say. It was close.
So,
You have to give me that. It was close.
Welcome to Paul McMahon.
Yeah, exactly. To McMahan land. So Danny Smith is watching. Some guy called Danny Smith. Tell me a funny story about Danny Smith, Paulie.
Hello, I'm Danny Smith.
Danny Smith. God, the first time I met Danny Smith, 1978.
Oh God.
We were at. He was racing. He was at West Capitol because he's a lot older than I am. Because I was just a kid. West Capitol Raceland.
Flipping you off right now.
We had a barbecue at Bob Clausen's house.
Oh wow.
It was Danny Smith, Rick Ferkel, Steve Kinzer.
Wow.
They came to Bob Clausen's house, which is Brian Clausen's granddad. And
Wow.
I was just a young kid, and that's the first time I met Danny Smith was 1978. So I was 7 years old.
Wow, that's pretty good for someone that's been concussed as many times as he has.
Yes, particularly that as I heard him crack that beer just as he answered that question too. It was like that sound. Was Danny running Danny, I'm sure you're going to tell me here. Was Danny running the gambler house? He says, I remember that. Barley, he put.
I don't think he was in a gambler house car then.
Barely. I remember that barely.
Year of the World of Outlaws, so I'm not 100% sure. I know Steve was driving for Carl. So I'm not 100% sure who Danny was actually driving for back then, but I do remember meeting him.
He'll tell me. He said, I remember that barely. And he said, no, it wasn't the house car. So he's about to tell me, I'm sure. It's remarkable, isn't it, how just earlier this year we lost Kenny Rogers. And it was only a really narrow window that sprint car racing had with Kenny through the CK Spurlock side of things. But we still kind of adopted Kenny Rogers as a sprint car identity, didn't we?
Yeah, we sure did. And the funny thing is when I bought my first house here in Nashville, Tennessee, when I went to my escrow lawyer, he was C.K. Spurlock's lawyer.
Oh, wow.
And so just sitting down, and he's like, "What do you do for a living?" I'm like, "I drive a race car." And he's like, "What type?" And we got going onto the stories, and come to find out he was CK's lawyer, and we became the procedure became a lot easier after that.
Yeah, yeah. Now he's like, I understand why you're burning money. Hey,
and I live in Hendersonville, Tennessee, which is the home of Gambler Chassis.
oh, beautiful. So Danny is saying it's the Mellow Cream Donut car number 4.
Yeah, don't ring a bell to me, but I just remember that day.
And another one of your car owners is on here, Luch Monty. Hey, Lucci.
No.
Mind you, that doesn't narrow it down. When I say there's another one of your car owners on here, Paul,
Yeah.
that doesn't narrow it down.
No, it doesn't. I've driven for a lot of great ones. I was just having a conversation with somebody. It was Jeff Grubish's anniversary a week or two ago, and
Yep.
Brock. Anyways, Brock was saying we need to have a reunion, Luke.
Brock Nanovich.
Yes,
Nanovich.
Brock
Sounds
Nanovich.
like Nano.
Brock says we need to have a reunion, so Luch needs to listen to this and have a
Luch,
reunion.
You need to fly us over.
You know,
And Braden too.
we need to have a McMahan family reunion in Australia, in WA.
Yeah. I love the way you say WA, because when I put WA in any message to any American, they think I'm talking about Washington, but
Yeah.
that means Western Australia to us.
Yeah, we
Exactly.
know.
We don't say Washington much around here.
No, fair call. When you and Bobby grew up racing sprint cars in California, was that like NARC stuff? Was that around that time, or what were you running in California?
Yeah, that would have been NARC series. NARC Golden State Challenge back in the day, which is King of the West now. I only got to race with my brother for probably, I would say, 4 or 5 years maybe.
Really?
The rest of the time I was on different parts of the continent. I mean, different parts of California. When my brother ran NARC, when I first started, I ran Placerville. My brother ran NARC, and I only ran one track. And then I went from there to Hanford and only ran Hanford for most of my career. And then I was fortunate enough to be able to race with my brother for many years, or for 4 or 5 years in California. And I wouldn't say it was a bonding experience, but we got to race together.
You just mentioned Hanford, and I took a tour group there, and I'm going to say it was 98. I could be wrong. We went to a race called the Spanky Matthews Memorial, if I remember that. Pretty hard to forget a name like Spanky Matthews.
Yes.
And BK rolled around with an American flag out the side of the car during the anthem, and then they just threw the green, and he hot lapped like 5 laps, foot to the floor, one-handed with the American flag out the side. I was like, that's BK, isn't it?
That's total BK. And the funny thing you say about Spanky Matthews is, I was just telling Braden tonight, I have my Spanky Matthews Memorial trophy in my garage. And that just happens to be the first NARC Golden State race I ever won in California. So we were just talking about that today.
It's super cool that Peter Murphy is now a major part of Californian sprint car promotion. Paul, you must be thrilled to see that happen.
Yeah, that's awesome. Peter's a great guy. He was a great competitor to race with, and a great friend. And Peter. The nice thing about Peter, he has the Australian side of him, because in America we don't. I mean, it's my personal opinion. The promoters in America don't know how to promote. They just want to collect a paycheck and move on. And Australia knows how to promote races. So with Peter being from Australia and knowing that side of it, and being in California, he knows how to promote and make races exciting, which he has done with the Peter Murphy Classic that he does at Tulare, and now that he has Hanford Raceway or Hanford Speedway, I don't know what they call it actually, but I'm looking forward to what he will do. And I told him when I was out at Trophy Cup this last October that I will be at a Peter Murphy Classic race before I retire. And it was just, he's one of them guys that you love and you just respect and you want to support him as much as you can.
Tulare Thunderbolt is where he's had the Peter Murphy Classic for all those years, but we used to call him Playboy Peter Murphy, Paul, because the chicks would dig him, and he had a major mullet as well. But his mum, she gets so pissed off at me when I call him Playboy Pete, and you can imagine that his beautiful wife isn't necessarily a fan of me calling him Playboy Pete. But back in the day, he had the piercing eyes and the long black hair. Jan, you might have even looked twice if he walked past you. Let's just say that.
I did not.
Oh, she's lying.
Fortunately for you, Paul, she likes short Californians, not tall, dark, and handsome Aussie.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I'm fortunate, very fortunate.
I think Terry McCall used a lot of what he learned in Australia as well for that front row challenge stuff as well. He sort of turned that race at Oski into very much like a carnival style thing that Aussies are we don't have a big population to draw from, Paul. You know that. We only got like almost 30 million people compared to you guys with 300. So I think we have to work a lot harder to get fans in the door. There's less of a market for everything.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, when I raised, like the first time I went to Australia in 2001, I guess it was, I didn't really know what to expect. And when I got there, I figured out that cricket, AFL, it was all made up. So we had a place to have a beer. And that's the way racing is. Racing is we race. We go there and we race at speedways, y'all call it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we just want to have a beer and have a good time. And that's what Australia has brought to me was it brought the fun back into the sport for me.
Yep. Would you ever consider being promoting a race, Paul? And with Jan alongside you, would you guys ever consider it?
Nope. No,
I
would. I mean, we have talked about it. Trust me, we have talked about it numerous times about promoting a race somewhere. But in Tennessee, we don't have a place to really do it. To really promote a race and get it right, you gotta have the right situation, have the right following, and I really don't have the following that would bring a lot of people to a race.
Okay, so not like the Brad Doty Classic, for example.
No, I mean, hell, I wish I was Brad Doty. You know, he was my hero. But I'm just the guy. I don't even know the word. I'm the guy that just worked and made a living with what I did, but never became very popular at what I done.
Well, thank God Jan's used to mediocrity, and she sort of loves that in you, mate.
Yeah, exactly. That's very fortunate. Very fortunate. When she married me, she had stars in her eyes, and she
Whatever.
She figured it out that those ain't stars; those are just dim lights.
Whatever.
I'm pretty sure halfway through the first date, she said, "So you're not Bobby?"
Whatever.
Jan, you're looking amazing. When we talked last, it was at Knoxville in August, and you were getting close to ringing that bell and starting to do some stuff. You're looking really good. How are you feeling?
I feel great. I have a little bit of shoulder problems. I have to have surgery on that in June 2nd, but that's not anything to do with the cancer, and I feel great.
The really amazing part is that you reap what you sow, Jan. And so many people reached out to you. There's that American term that everyone says, reach out. I want to reach out to you. So many people in the racing community just wrapped their arms around you, didn't they?
Oh, they did. Oh, my gosh. I can never, ever thank them enough. It was amazing. Like, we cannot ever thank them enough, for sure.
I'm only bringing this up because I want to see Paul cry again. I just love.
Right. For sure. And
I'm not listening right now.
right,
I'm looking at the North Star.
Where is the North Star, Paul? Do you even know what the North Star is?
It's right there.
we think. No.
That's a street light, Paul. Have another beer.
Hey, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, right. See? I see Matt Duncan is on here watching. The Duncan family do an incredible job with the Knoxville Raceway track, Paul. And the Outlaws running for the first time next weekend. And you're running at Selinsgrove as well. So life is slowly getting back to some normality, you think?
Well, yeah, it's going to take time. It's a strange world we live in right now with social distancing, the mask you got to wear. Well, you're supposed to wear.
Yeah. Yep.
It's a strange world right now. Hopefully here in the next month or so we can get back to normal and go racing wherever we want and not have to be invited somewhere and just go racing and be back to what we've once done. Hopefully they get this done for the Nationals, in August. I mean, that's what we all look forward to. And right now, that's kind of in jeopardy.
Yeah. Netflix, Jan. What are you watching on Netflix at the moment? What are some of your favorites?
Oh gosh. Right now I'm not watching anything on Netflix.
We watched everything. All American.
All American we just finished.
Is that the series?
Yes, it's about football.
I watched a movie called My All American, which was like a true story about a young guy that was just like played with a lot of heart. There's so many incredible NFL films, but wow, that'll make
Greater.
Watch Greater.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Good.
One.
Yeah. Okay. So you're not like watching Gotham or the Last Dance. Have you watched The Last Dance?
Last.
That's the Michael Jordan.
Oh, Michael
yes,
Jordan,
we watched that.
We're watching
Yes,
that. Yes,
we watched that. Yes, we're watching that.
Man, that is one determined critter. I noticed that the Kobe Bryant fan had to point that out. He's sitting behind the camera at the moment. He had to tell you what that was.
He's
He
a
is the
basketball. Yes, for sure.
Yeah. Is he holding the phone or something? Why is he sitting back behind you?
He's just sitting off.
He's
over
just
the
sitting
corner.
off in the beach chair.
Yeah, throwing shade. That's what he's doing.
I'm not here for pretty looks. I'm just here for support.
You couldn't sit next to your mum and be there for pretty looks anyway, mate. Don't worry about that. Paulie,
With his mullet.
yeah, well, we call him a mullet. Mullet. You guys say mullet, don't you?
Mullet.
Yeah. It's like mummy or Tommy.
It's
Hey.
a southern thing.
I just want to say, the other day I was on Facebook, and Ando Grant.
Yeah. Yeah.
You Australians are crazy.
Well,
I mean, he used gasoline to start a fire and posted it on Facebook.
Oh.
What the hell?
Did it warm him up?
Well, it started quickly.
Hey, Braden, if you got Twitter there, can you show Paulie David Gravel's really brave breakfast meal he had the other day that was like, wow, how risky?
what do you have for breakfast?
Oh, he was like, oh, this is my unique breakfast. And it was like peanut butter, banana, as you would say, and like a waffle thing either side.
What do you say?
Banana.
Banana?
Yeah. It's a banana, mate.
Banana.
Banana.
You say tomato, we say tomato.
I say tomato.
So I stepped it up Aussie style. Braden, have you caught that yet? Because you're right across
You have
Twitter.
Vegemite.
Yeah. That's what I.
Is that when you had the bananas out?
Yeah. Yeah.
When was this? Gravel's
This-
breakfast.
Yeah. Go to my Twitter.
Oh, your
I'll
Twitter.
go to his Twitter.
Your Twitter. Okay.
Oh,
Alec-
something with the banana, but I didn't want to look because you doing bananas. I didn't want to. I was scared.
I wasn't gonna eat it in front of you.
Watching it now.
Paul's watching it now. Do you even have normal peanut butter though?
Yeah.
Peanut butter and walnut.
Peanut butter
would be
banana.
good,
I would go with it.
Like
Yeah,
I
that was pretty safe, really, wasn't it? Like, whatever. Come on, Gravel. Like, you're a Knoxville Nationals champion. Step it up, brother. You know?
You're lucky he eats anything.
Yeah, good point.
Tiny.
Is he pretty picky?
Oh,
No, but
yes,
Gravel?
he is.
Oh,
yes.
really? Is he? Well, he's so teeny tiny.
We'll call him out.
Gravel?
He got a honky tonk on his.
Well, he
Yeah.
does have a honky
Gravel's got a honky
booty,
tonk.
but he's so teeny tiny. I mean,
I have no idea where I'm going with this now.
What was that?
I have no idea where I'm going with this now. We're now talking about David Gravel's butt. I didn't see this coming. Wow.
He had a honky tonk.
if
That's
you
what
have
they
a
all
honky
got honky
If
tonk.
you have a honky tonk, that's good, and you are
Maybe he got
little
back.
like that.
A honky tonk. Okay. Oh, radio. Okay. I see what this apparently. You're not cupping there, are you, Jan? That's more just a pat on your butt, right?
Well, it's like a
It's a virtual cupping.
yeah. It's not. I'm not cupping his booty. I'm like, oh well. Not cupping David Gravel's booty. I promise you.
Paul, you are causing me. I'm blushing. Paul, you're causing me a lot of problems in my house with my kids when I go and visit my boys and we do the Tony Stewart game because the 13 car seems to be crashing into me a lot.
Me and you got problems already. Obviously, we have problems. Hey, Braden, that's hot.
What's he touching?
The
Our
barbecue.
barbecue.
Oh, I thought you were talking about David Gravel's butt again. I'm like,
No,
can we just move past this?
Barbecue. And he's like, oh. I'm like, that's hot.
You were talking about Twitter real quick. Alec Baldwin called Twitter today the Grand Central Station of shitheads.
That would be good.
Close.
I like. So the Tony Stewart game, obviously, that's fantastic for the All Stars. How good is Tony Stewart for the sport of sprint car racing? My God.
I mean, Tony is. Oh man, I mean, Tony is awesome for what he's done for our sport because he loves our sport, and
Yeah.
he's done a lot of things that he doesn't have to do, and it's taken a lot of money out of his own pocket that he does not have to do, and that's just because of the love of the sport he has and the way he wants to grow the sport. I mean, obviously he's in it to make money.
Yeah.
But right now he's bringing money out of his own pocket
Mm-hmm.
to keep our series thriving, keep our sport thriving.
Yeah. I mean, when my first trip to America was 92 and then 94, 95, and the All Stars were just pumping. It was like Kevin Huntley, Frankie Kerr, Dean Jacobs. There was just so many fantastic. Danny Smith was picking and choosing stuff. Byron Reed. There was so many young badasses in the All Stars and so many incredible liveries and paint schemes. And, it was a great time. And then they lost their way a little bit. I think that's safe to say. And now they're just rocking.
Yeah, I mean, once, Bert Emick,
Yeah.
which was the founder of the All Stars, he had it going and thriving, and then Bert just got old and not old, but I mean, he got where he just didn't want to deal with it anymore and sold it, and then the All Stars kind of lost its path.
Yeah.
And when Tony, they had a big come to Jesus meeting, I guess, basically about 2013, maybe 14, somewhere right around there. And Tony took it over, and man, it's thriving. I mean, the All Stars is it's right up there with the World of Outlaws. My personal opinion.
Yeah, and you got a really great guy in Blake Anderson working on it too. I'm a huge rap for what Blake does as an announcer and a passionate person.
Yeah, Blake. He's a Hawkeye fan.
Oh,
He's a Patriots fan.
Blake.
He's a Red Sox
Red Sox
fan.
fan.
Yeah, me and Blake don't see eye to eye right now.
But apart from that,
Let's go back to Netflix. Speaking about Tony, did
Yes.
you watch Tiger King?
yes,
Okay, did you see the guy with the legs, with the prosthetic legs?
Yes,
All right.
yes.
John Rinke, did you see that he made a video with a Paul McMahon shirt on?
Did he really?
You didn't see that?
No.
Oh
I'll
my
have to send
gosh.
it to you.
We'll
Yeah.
send it to you. Yes. He's a Paul McMahon fan, and Sky sent him a shirt, and he made a video for one of his sponsors.
A
'Cause,
TikTok.
a TikTok video for one of his sponsors. Yeah. And he had a Paul McMahon shirt on.
So I would think anybody from Oklahoma right now would have to be devastated.
Yeah, pretty much.
They're
Pretty
already
much.
devastated.
They were devastated years ago, though. But I mean, yeah, they have to be like. I was like, when they first talked about it, I'm like, I am not watching this show.
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
We have a TV in our warehouse at where I work at Quick Car, and it's our storm TV, I guess
Their
you call
weather
it, weather
TV?
TV.
Yep.
Well, it has Netflix on it, so we watched Tiger King,
Yep.
and it was one of them shows that you could not shut off.
Yeah.
You knew where it was going, and it
Mhm.
wasn't going to be good, but you could not turn it off.
Yes. It's a car accident. You don't want to
Yes.
look at, but you just
Train wreck.
yeah.
Train wreck.
It's what it is. It's a 2020 spec version of Springer.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
It's
Just
when
without
that
the
guy.
fights.
So the guy you're talking about, obviously that wore your shirt, is the guy that was in the movie with his race car. He's driving like an IMCA modified or something.
Eldora Raceway shirt on. Yes.
But didn't I was sitting there watching. I was like, no, don't put a dirt racing shirt on. Don't have a raceway. But yep, we're in there.
He's
Speedway's
the
in
only
there.
half-normal person
He is
in the show.
Is he?
He's
Yes.
the only normal one out there, and it was like, it's funny, but I mean, he's a dirt racer.
Yeah.
We're all somehow, we're all in the same mold.
Yes.
We're all a little off.
Yes.
Well, I said every time I went to Eldora, I was going to look for that man with the prosthetic legs because there was no way. And our friend Evan said, okay, we're getting him toilet waters and we're going to talk to him. Huh? Which are drinks at Eldora, if you don't know.
Yep.
And so Evan DM'd him on Twitter and got his address, and Sky, our mechanic's wife, sent him a shirt, and it went from there. And then he followed Paul on Twitter and DM'd Paul, and it went from there.
If there was a sprint car version of that, it would be goddamn Aaron Reitzel, I think, because Aaron is he's causing a few people consternation. Hey, LaDonna Coleman is watching on here. She says, proud to be a Okie. My housekeeper was Tiger King's neighbor growing up. So there you go. There's always a
LaDonna.
That's cool.
Yeah. Ron Cricky is watching, and Stephen Green is watching.
Hey, when's church?
Yeah, Ronnie. Yeah, I'm just impressed that Ronnie. Do you get his messages? Oops, I dropped out here on my facey. I need to go back to that. We'll just keep talking on the Skype because I'm going to play this back anyway.
Yeah, no worries. Man, I remember days that when I used to go. I mean, that's one race I want to go back to, really, really bad. That's something I really got a passionate for is the Cricky Boys. And back when I used to, when I went, Ronnie and his day at church, the night church, I guess we'd call it. And he would barbecue, and God, we'd have some serious laughs. And that's one race I definitely really want to get back to someday. And someday it better be soon because my ass is getting old, and I don't have much time left.
Are you saying that your honky tonk is a little bit time challenged?
Yeah, I'm a little old, buddy. I'm pushing 50, but I still got a little left in me for them boys over there.
Yeah, absolutely. You would have run the Outlaws Down Under race at Parramatta?
Yeah, I ran. I think I ran every year at the Outlaws Down Under. It was that was a lot of fun. That was I think that's what really got Australia into the 410s and
Yes,
really pushed their series or their group. Back in the day, back in when I first started coming over there was only a handful of teams that were like dominant, and now there's so many dominant teams over there since they went to the 410s. It's really impressive to see.
Yeah, Steve is saying it was for Sonny. You drove for Sonny.
Yes, I drove for Sonny. Yes.
Emily Annette is joining me from Knoxville, and man, I always think about that TMC car. I always think about that black TMC entry. Man, that was a cool car that Sammy had.
Okay. Yeah, Sammy, the TMC car was nice. I'm not
Yeah.
a big Sammy fan, but it was nice.
It's all right. I'm not either. I just thought it was a cool looking hot rod.
I mean, we're being candid. I'm going to be candid.
Yeah, that's all right. I like it. I'm the same way. Steve Post is watching. Hello to the postman.
The postman, is he out walking or is he out drinking?
He does. To me, he's the Rodney Dangerfield. He sounds exactly like Rodney Dangerfield. I get no respect.
Steve and Braden had a battle the other day.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a trivia game.
Trivia battle.
Tune in tomorrow at noon.
Tune in tomorrow at noon.
Oh,
on the
wow.
Outlaw page. On
Gee.
their Twitter page.
Oh, I like this. Wow. A bit of stuff from
page.
See the news you get here?
I know, right?
Get with the McMahons.
McMahon's in the driveway.
Yeah.
Steve Post goes, woohoo, drinking. He did the 410 race last year, the postman. I was very impressed. He ran that 410 running race at Knoxville.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Steve is a very fit individual.
I don't know how he runs.
He gets out every day. I mean, if you watch his Twitter or his Facebook, he's out every day walking and running at least 3 miles a day. So he's a very fit individual. He's probably more fit than I am.
The only thing I'm running to is to a cell, a clearance. Facing me.
There's people I know that just get fit from jumping to conclusions.
Exactly.
Steve has got the coolest hairdo. He's lucky. He can do anything with that hair, man. That's what I'm jealous of. The postman has the hair.
Yeah, he could do a mullet. He needs to go to LaWanda.
Oh, no, you didn't.
The only bad thing the postman has is when the wind blows. And wind blows, that's bad for some hair sometimes. I love Steve Post.
Oh.
I hope. Steve says 6 miles this morning, 6-pack this evening.
What
Yep.
the heck?
See, that's how he rolls.
6
He's
miles.
the Rodney Dangerfield. I'm telling you.
That's how he
I'm telling you what,
rolls.
6 miles? No way. I can't even run to the end of my half block.
I'm sure you could if you wanted to, if you had to.
Nope. Not unless they told me there was a clearance.
Tell me about your friendship with Shannon Saldana, Jan, because do you say Saldana or Saldana, firstly?
Saldana. It's Saldana.
Okay.
That's how you say it.
And do you say Hordenshield or Howdenshield or what? How do you say Horden?
It's
Okay.
Jack Hodenshield.
Because the wild child Jack Hordenshield doesn't rhyme.
But that's just how it is pronounced.
Ooh, we're getting a look in your garage. I can see some coat hangers hanging up in the background. I can see a blower.
Oh, why those are there?
Those are from the t-shirt trailer that I sold, so I just hung them up. We got a fire in the backyard over there.
Oh shoot!
Yeah,
Fire.
I gotta
hope
watch.
I
I don't even know how to show you. There's a hell of a fire over in somebody's
You'll hear
backyard.
the fire trucks come.
Oh, sweet. Are we going to be live on the spot here for a fire for the fire brigade show?
Hell yeah, I'll run
Shoot,
over there.
That's really big. You know, one time when the Saldana came and
I
my
gotta check
friend
it out.
Steven came, we set off fireworks at New Year's and in the middle of the street, and it went up and over our neighbor's yard, and Paul had to scale the fence
Oh, really?
to put out a fire that set our neighbor's yard on fire. Yeah.
So he's an amateur firefighter. He's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, because
That
he
was
caught
sweet.
the neighbor's yard on
Well,
fire.
when you burn the neighbor's yard, you got to jump over and put it out.
I'm trying to think of that movie when Eddie Murphy, I think, who is it, jumps over the back fence and he's like, turn it over, man, it's burning. Turn it over, man, it's burning. Oh, my God. Braden will know this for sure. He's chasing someone through a backyard, and it's like on fire. And anyway, it'll come to me. Jan, I love how you do this with your hair. You must have really missed that.
This hair of mine
Yeah.
is out, and I just got it done today, and she straightened it, and so it's really flat and crazy and out of control. So
Yeah, but how much did you look forward to that moment again?
oh my God.
a half ago?
Because if you think about it, how short it was in August and how
Yeah.
long it's now, I'm loving it.
Yeah, I bet.
Because I should keep it short, but nope, I'm growing it out because I want a ponytail.
Yeah,
So,
fair. Ponytail. Wow.
I'm loving the fact that it can get in my eyes right now. I'll deal
Love
with
it.
Thanks.
So let's go back to Shannon for a second. How did you guys become friends?
Oh gosh, and it was in Florida when Joey was in the Beef Packers car and Paul was in the Tri-C car.
Oh, the Triceca. Wow.
Yeah. And he was there in Florida and we just happened to start talking and became friends. And then we just started talking a little bit. And then when Joey was leaving the Beef Packers car, I came down and told Paul, Joey Saldana's leaving the Beef Packers car. You need to call them. And when we went racing full time, and Shannon and I just became friends, and it's been on since then.
Just as you said that, I heard all the beer cans crunching together just then. Is that like,
Right behind me? But Shannon and I have been friends since then, and I cannot imagine this life without her.
yeah, that's so cool. Thank God for friends like that, love.
Yeah, and although the other night in our race, she crashed me.
Oh. Isn't Shannon pretty fit? Isn't she like a bit of an athlete at times with her? Like she always seems to have the gun show.
Oh yeah, and she's very competitive. And it's so funny because she called me immediately after the race and she's like, I'm so sorry I took you out. And I was laughing so hard. It was so funny. Like I didn't care, but it was so funny because you would have to know Shannon. She's very, very competitive.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I love that, Jan, I love that sprint car racing is made up of so many diverse characters.
Yeah.
Joey is hard to get a word out of if you don't know him.
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah.
You know, such a quiet, unassuming guy compared to Paul, who's pretty out there and, you know, well, he's a very social person, whereas Joey to me seems very quiet.
Yeah. Oh yeah, unless you know Joey, and then he's like dry sense of humor and so funny. And like when I was going through my journey, Joey would send me text messages all the time, just really sweet text messages, and was, you know, and would tell Shannon, you've got to tell Jan that I'm so worried about her, and you know, just a different side of Joey that people just don't know.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
What's happening with the fire, McMahan?
It's out.
Fire good.
Oh.
Fire good. Someone use Grant Ando. They watched the Grant Anderson Facebook Live. I think that's how they
Did you just go over and pee on? You just went over and peed on it, didn't you? Like that's how big this raging inferno was.
I mean, it was impressive start.
Yeah,
to
it's
the
done
fire.
now.
Now
It's quite.
like. Brr, brr, brr.
So watching now is the wife of my sprint car hero. You know how you said that you have like Brad Doty was your hero. Well, my hero in American sprint car was a guy that drove the yellow number 22 Pennzoil Jack Eldon Racing entry. When I saw Jack run Eldora, it changed my life. So hello to the newly grannied Patty Sweeney Hordenchild. Because she's got a new little grandbaby. Yeah. Go, Rock.
So cute.
Rocky's loving being a mama, isn't she? Wow.
Oh gosh, she's such a good mommy.
It's so cool watching the pics of Jack just chilling back like with this little guy in his arm. And isn't he, Paul, like the absolute Jekyll and Hyde of sprint cars? Like you couldn't meet a more laid back person than Jack, could you?
Hod is the best.
He is so laid back. I love
no
him.
No matter what happens in racing, Hod's got a smile on his face, and he's like, I mean, he could crash you, you could crash him, he could win, he can destroy one, and he's got the same look, just a big old smile, and like, well, shit, we'll try tomorrow.
I love Jack.
There's no one I know that doesn't.
He is is a legend. I mean,
Yeah.
he's just a guy that you cannot help but love.
Yeah.
With the just his way of the way he races hard, and at the end of the day, no matter what happens, he has a smile on his face, and he comes back the next day and races just as hard.
I got to when he was at Eldora, I interviewed him, and not knowing that he wasn't necessarily that wasn't his forte back in '92 doing interviews. He was it's probably not 100% now, but he's a lot better at it. And I remember saying to him, "So Jack, who have you got in your team?" He goes, "We got Dennis Kohler, and we got Mouse." It was like
Glenn. It might have been Glenn back then.
Yeah, Mouse Green was crewing for him back then, but it was just funny listening to him take so long to recall that, because he's just a simple guy that all his life has ever been about is racing and family, and he's so pure. I just love him for it. I could talk about him forever.
He's a badass.
I love Jack.
And I mean, Sheldon is just such a classy individual, isn't he? He's just class.
The apple fell right next to the tree on that one.
Yeah.
I mean,
He probably doesn't stay out as late as his mum and dad, though, Paul. I think Sheldon leaves a bit early.
Sheldon just doesn't have Sheldon's always got the smile, but he's just he's just a tad different than Jack. I mean, he's just I don't know. I mean, maybe he learned from what Jack did in some of maybe some of Jack's bad traits. He didn't catch and or changed or whatever, but Sheldon's just got a little different. Well, I mean, it's a different era also. It's all business now, and Sheldon has that all business look in his eye.
Yeah, and I think Zan has a really profound effect on his grounding as well.
I say I love Sheldon and Zan. I love them.
And Pella.
Yeah, I was gonna say and Pella.
Pella scares the shit out of me. She always looks like she's gonna bite my leg off. That's the nicest dog ever.
She's got so much personality. Like, if you follow her on Instagram, you should try Instagram, Paul. It's a really cool app. It's a social media thing.
He does not get on it.
Bud. Easy. Only baby steps. You're lucky I got what I got here. It's a good thing my son was here. I wouldn't even be on this.
Just say,
Well, I was hoping to end this with like a fire and like several fire trucks, because you talked it up, and it's yeah. Yeah. Good point. Probably don't do that. It is so lovely catching up with you guys. Thank you so much for fitting me in. The very random Snapchat, and I was like, "Hey man, can we talk?" And you're like, "I've been drinking, but sure."
You know me. I'm always here for you. You've been one of my dearest friends over the years, and my biggest allies also. And I would do anything for you at any time, any day.
Appreciate it, mate. I love you guys and miss you, and be safe. I don't think I'm going to make August. I think they're going to lock down my country till 2021. So I think that's the way it's headed. But you know what? As long as we're all safe, I don't care whether we do what we do, as long as we're all safe. So be well, be safe. Have a beer for me as well, or a natty if you like. A natty. And say hi to Lawanda for me.
Lawanda.
Hey.
Lawanda.
Make sure you get me over to the Cricket Boys sometime.
Okay. Ron Cricky, you're listening. McMahan needs another Cricky Boys shootout.
And I need to come with him.
See you guys. Love you.
And Brayden.
I
All right,
ran
we love
second
you.
3 times. I got to try to win it once.
Yes, you do. Do it.
All
See you
right.
later.
Bye.
Well, take care.